There's a form of anxiety that looks productive on the surface. It doesn't show up as panic or collapse. It shows up as thinking, analyzing, replaying, planning. Damn it. There's a form of anxiety that looks productive on the surface. It doesn't show up as panic or collapse. It shows up as thinking, analyzing, planning, replaying conversations, anticipating outcomes, and trying to stay one step ahead of whatever could go wrong. A lot of people in this pattern don't even identify as anxious. They identify as careful, thorough, or self-aware. All really fabulous traits. They're often the ones that others rely on for insight or even foresight. But internally, there's a constant mental motion that never really shuts off. Before we go further, I want to pause us because this pattern is often mislabeled, even by the people experiencing it. Not all anxiety shows up as fear or overwhelm. Sometimes it shows up as control through cognition. If you want to understand how your personal nervous system tends to organize when anxiety hits, whether it runs hot, goes flat, or moves into thinking, there's a short Somatic Skins assessment linked in the description below. It isn't advice or a label. It'll help you see your default regulation strategy so that you're not fighting the wrong battle. Okay, so in this pattern, the nervous system experiences activation, charge, but instead of letting that charge move through the body, it routes it upward into thought. Attention will narrow around problem solving, meaning making, and future projection. The mind stays busy, not because it's out of control, but because it's trying to contain and control sensation. Thinking becomes the container, like the full instrument. This is why the thoughts feel urgent and compelling. They won't shut off. The system is using cognition to prevent systemic overwhelm. As long as the mind is working, it feels like something is being held together. The problem is, though, that thought is a fragile container. It can hold for a while, but it requires constant effort. It's very expensive. The moment that attention drops, late at night when you're tired, when something unexpected happens, the anxiety surges back stronger because the body never actually processed the activation underneath. This is where the illusion of control comes in. People in this pattern often believe that if they can just understand things better, think more clearly, or reach the right insight, the anxiety will resolve. They keep refining the narrative, analyzing their reactions, or trying to figure things out. Insight feels regulating in the moment, but it doesn't reorganize the system. What's actually happening is that attention has become overdeveloped relative to the body's capacity to hold sensation. The nervous system is intelligent, reflective, and alert, but it's undersupported structurally and energetically. That imbalance is what creates the loop. The body sends signal. The mind interprets it. The interpretation generates more signal. The system tightens further, and the loop continues. This is also why this pattern is so common around intelligent, conscientious, and self-aware people. They're very good at thinking, and thinking has worked for them in many areas of life. So when anxiety shows up, the system defaults to the strongest tool it has. But thinking isn't the problem. Over-reliance on thinking is. What helps here isn't stopping thought or getting out of your own head. That's generic. And it isn't about forcing calm. What helps is giving the nervous system a stronger container than only cognition. And that usually starts with the body. When structural stacking or strength improves, when posture organizes, when breath supports the spine, and the system can literally hold itself, sensation becomes more tolerable. Energy will then stop getting kicked upward into thought. Attention can widen without losing stability. From there, movement and sensory input can help redistribute activation so it doesn't all get routed back into the mind. This isn't about distraction. It's about letting the body do the work that it was designed to do. As the body begins to carry more of the load, something interesting happens. Thoughts will slow down without effort, not because you controlled them, but because they're no longer needed as a containment strategy. The mind can then still think clearly when it needs to, usually more clear, but it's no longer running constantly just to keep the system upright and going. This is often a surprising moment for people in this pattern because they realize that they weren't anxious because they were overthinking. They were overthinking because they felt anxious. And once the system has another way to hold that sensation, the loop loses its grip and they're surprised at how quiet they feel. In the next and final video of this anxiety series, we're going to talk about how anxiety changes when coherence returns. Not disappearing entirely, but shifting from something that overwhelms you into something that actually informs you. Because anxiety isn't the enemy. It's an energetic signal that hasn't found a home yet. If you want to understand which anxiety pattern your nervous system tends to default to, the Somatic Skins Quiz linked below will give you that clarity. And if you want to train this for yourself and you want guided support, rebuilding capacity in the right sequence, this is the work that we do inside the Prestige. Not by silencing the mind, but by restoring embodied coherence. So your mind no longer has to work so hard. When the system has enough support, thinking becomes a tool again, not a lifeboat. If you've made it this far in the series, I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am and sharing it with you. Please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel out. And until next time.